August 25th, 1944, Saint-Lô, France. I gripped the wheel of my GMC truck, Sergeant James Rucard, driver in the 5 14th Quartermaster Truck Company. The engine hums steady as we line up for the first run east. Worn tire tread bites into the mud from last night's rain. Our convoy stretches back half a mile, 132 trucks loaded with fuel cans and ammo crates. The air smells of diesel and wet earth. We aim to push supplies to Patton's Third Army, now 300 miles from the beaches. Reports say the Germans are regrouping at the Seine. Mechanical checks run quick, but one breakdown could halt the line. Tension builds as orders come down to maintain 35 miles per hour, no stops except for fuel. By nightfall, we need to deliver what keeps the tanks rolling. The weight of the cargo presses against the cab. Do we reach the front before they stall? 6. The Allied breakout from Normandy in late July 1944 changed the war in Europe. American forces pushed east fast after Operation Cobra. Patton's Third Army led the charge, covering up to 60 miles a day. Supply lines stretched thin from the beaches. Traditional methods, like rail and depot transfers, could not keep up. Fuel, ammo, and food piled up at ports while tanks ran dry at the front. The U. Army Transportation Corps stepped in. On August 25th, they launched the Red Ball Express. Named after railroad priority freight, it turned French highways into a one-way supply artery. From Saint-Lô and Chartres east to the Seine, then beyond. Trucks ran round the clock, headlights on despite blackout rules. Convoys formed loops, loaded vehicles forward, empties back. My unit, the 514th Quartermaster Truck Company, part of the Motor Transport Brigade, joined hundreds of others. Mostly black drivers like me, from segregated outfits. We handled GMC-2, 5-ton trucks, each carrying 5 tons. At peak, 83 companies operated, with over 900 vehicles total. Daily goals started at 7, 500 tons delivered. We hit 12, 500 tons per day by early September. That kept 12 divisions moving. Fuel alone took priority, with Third Army burning 400 out, 1,000 gallons daily on the advance. Roads were rough, bombed out in places. We fixed them on the fly, with gravel and planks. Military police controlled traffic at checkpoints. No civilian vehicles allowed on the route. Breakdowns got pushed aside, repaired by mobile teams. The system relied on discipline, 5 mile per hour minimum speed, 60-yard intervals between trucks. We drove 20 hours straight sometimes, catching sleep in shifts. Reality check number 1. Force. Official U. On. Army records show the Red Ball moved 89,000 tons in its first week alone. Source. Force. U. S. Army Green Book. Transportation Corps in the ETO. This operation bridged the gap until rails and pipelines caught up. It showed American logistics at work, adapting to speed. The disciplined runs by truck drivers like me sustained the Allied push across France. We navigated enemy pockets, breakdowns, and fatigue to deliver supplies at a pace that kept armored units moving. This effort relied on quick repairs, strict convoy rules, and round-the-clock shifts. It showed how logistics could match the speed of combat. The mechanism started with route planning. Highways marked with red balls for priority. Trucks loaded at depots near the beaches. We drove east with essentials, returned empty west. Breakdowns got fixed on site or towed. Fuel stops every 50 miles kept us rolling. This process forged a legacy in U.S. military transportation. It proved adaptable systems could support rapid advances. Lessons from the Red Ball shaped future ops, like in Korea and beyond. Crew discipline turned chaos into steady flow. The focus on maintenance and speed set standards for efficient supply chains. August 26, 1944. Dawn breaks gray over the depot at Vire. I climb into the cab, hands raw from loading crates all night. The GMC seat creaks under me. My co-driver, Private Ellis, rubs sleep from his eyes. We carry 5 tons of 105mm shells, stacked tight against the canvas. The convoy leader waves us forward. Engines cough to life along the line. I shift into gear, feel the worn tire tread grab the gravel road. The first miles pass quiet. Fields roll by, fences broken from the fighting weeks ago. We hit 35 miles per hour, as ordered. No faster, no slower. The wheel vibrates in my grip. Dust kicks up from the truck ahead. I keep 60 yards back, eyes on the red ball signs nailed to trees. Those markers mean priority. No stops for civilians or breakdowns. Push them off the road if needed. By mid-morning, we reach a checkpoint near Alençon. MPs check papers quick. One nods at my load. Keep it moving, Sergeant. Ellis lights a cigarette, passes me one. The smoke mixes with diesel fumes. Tension sits in my chest like extra weight. Reports say German stragglers hide in the woods. Sniper fire hit a convoy yesterday. I scan the tree lines, grip tighter on the wheel. The road narrows through a village. Ruins on both sides, walls pocked with holes. Kids wave from doorways. I wave back once, keep focus ahead. The engine strains on a hill. I downshift smooth, hear the gears grind a bit. These trucks have seen better days. Odometers show thousands of miles already. Maintenance crews wait every 50 miles, but we can't afford delays. Noon brings heat. Sweat soaks my shirt. Ellis takes the wheel for his shift. I lean against the door, watch the countryside blur. We pass burned-out German half-tracks, pushed into ditches. Reminders of what waits if we slow. The convoy stretches a mile now. Trucks nose to tail. Horns blare if one lags. Discipline holds us together. One weak link, and the front starves. Afternoon turns rough. Rain starts, light at first. The road slicks up. I check the tires at a quick halt for fuel. Tread wears thin from the constant runs. Patches of cord show through. Ellis pumps gas while I wipe the windshield. Thunder rolls distant. We roll again before the storm hits full. Lightning cracks closer by late day. The cab shakes with wind. I drive now, visibility down to 50 yards. Water pools in ruts. The truck fishtails once, but I correct it steady. Heart beats firm, but I breathe even. Ellis spots a fallen tree ahead. We swerve careful, tires spinning mud. No time to clear it proper. Push through. Dusk falls as we near the drop point outside Dreux. The front lines echo faint with artillery. We unload quick under lanterns. Crates handed off to waiting crews. Hands numb, back aching. The empties form up for the return west. I climb back in, engine still warm. The strain of the day settles on my shoulders. We head back through the dark, headlights cutting the night. The route feels longer empty, but we know the job keeps the armor pushing. That run sets the pattern. Day after day, the same discipline. Load, drive, deliver, return. The worn tread on those tires tells the story. Each mile ground down, but we keep rolling. The routes we drove trace the scars of recent battles, from the Normandy beaches east through hedgerows and open fields. Terrain shifted from coastal flats to rolling hills near the Seine. Bombed bridges forced detours over pontoons. We mapped the path by voice over radios, calling out hazards ahead. Convoy leaders noted mile markers. relayed washouts or enemy pockets. Weather played its part. August rains turned dirt roads to mud. Trucks bogged down in ruts deep as axles. We chained tires for grip, but worn tread slipped often. Clear days brought dust clouds that choked engines. Filters clogged quick. Night runs under headlights risked air raids, but clouds hit us sometimes. Communications kept the flow. SCR 522 radios in lead trucks linked to MPs at checkpoints. We reported breakdowns or delays in code. No chatter, just facts. Position, issue, estimated fix time. Base at St. Lo coordinated resupplies. Dispatchers tracked convoys on maps, adjusted routes for traffic. Logistics built the backbone. Depots at Cherbourg and Omaha Beach fed the start. Trucks loaded in sequence, fuel first, then ammo, rations last. Each GMC carried 5 tons max, with overloads risking axles. Fuel consumption averaged 1 gallon per mile loaded. We refueled at mobile stations, pumping 300 gallons per truck in minutes. Spare parts traveled with us, tires and engines most needed. The system scaled up fast, from 132 trucks on day 1 to thousands by week 2. Routes extended 400 miles by September, from beaches to the German border. Discipline enforced the pace. Slow vehicles pulled off. Repairs done roadside with jacks and wrenches. We rotated drivers to fight fatigue, but shifts blurred after 48 hours. Enemy threats added layers. German holdouts in bypassed towns sniped at stragglers. We armed with M1 carbines, but orders said drive through, not engage. Artillery shells hit near routes twice in my runs. Air cover from P-47s patrolled overhead, but low clouds grounded them often. The map unfolded in sectors. Sector 1, 4s. Beaches to St. Lo, flat and secure, high volume loads. Sector 2, 4s. St. Lo to Chartres, hills and villages, ambush risks higher. Sector 3, 4s. Chartres east to the front, open country but lengthening lines strained fuel. We voiced the map in reports. 4s. Convoy 47 at marker 120, clear road, ETA dropped 1600. This setup let us sustain the push. Small fixes, like gravel fills, prevented halts. The whole relied on us drivers reading the ground, adjusting speed to conditions. Reality check number 2. Forez. Mishwamort. Army logs confirm trucks averaged 700 miles per round trip by mid-September, with 90% availability rate. Source, Horse. NARA Record Group 336, Chief of Transportation Files. The analysis showed how terrain and weather tested our craft. We adapted with tools at hand, keeping the supplies moving. Logistics turned potential stalls into steady advance. September 5th, 1944. The runs hit a wall. Fuel shortages at the depots slow our loads. Patton's army pushes to the Moselle, but supplies lag. We drivers hear the order come down from COMZ headquarters. Extend the route to Soissons, add more trucks. But German counterattacks near Reims cut the path. Pockets of SS troops raid convoys at night. One of ours loses 3 vehicles to ambush, drivers wounded, but loads saved. The turning point comes mid-month. Rails start catching up west of Paris. Pipelines pump fuel closer to the front. We adapt the system, split routes for efficiency. My unit shifts to night runs only, dodging air threats. Breakdowns spike from overuse. Engines seize, axles snap under loads. We improvise fixes with parts scavenged from wrecks. Discipline tightens. No more waves to locals. Eyes on the road, hands on the wheel. This shift saves the operation. Tons delivered climb back to 12, 500 daily. But fatigue sets in deep. Shifts stretch to 24 hours. I feel it in my bones, the constant rumble. The command realizes the strain on men and machines. They rotate companies, bring in fresh drivers from rear areas. Enemy pressure eases as Allied air pounds their positions. The inflection redefines our role. From emergency bridge to sustained lifeline, we hold the line through the chaos. The advance resumes, tanks fueled and armed. I run my hand over the tire sidewall at a stop. The tread, worn to slick patches, tells of miles endured. Myth holds that the Red Ball Express was a chaotic rush, trucks racing without order, wasting fuel and resources. Some post-war accounts painted it as desperate improvisation, drivers ignoring rules in a mad dash to the front. This view came from early reports of breakdowns and overloads, suggesting disorganization. Facts show otherwise. The operation ran on strict protocols from the start. Command set clear rules. 4s, 35 mph speed limit, 60-yard intervals, no stops except emergencies. Trucks formed serials of 25, with lead and trail vehicles radio-equipped. Discipline came from training and enforcement. MPs at checkpoints removed slow vehicles. Maintenance followed schedules, with mobile shops fixing issues on site. U.S. Army planners drew from stateside trucking experience. The Motor Transport Brigade organized companies by function, some for fuel, others for ammo. Daily manifests tracked loads to avoid waste. Fuel efficiency improved over time, from initial high consumption to optimized routes. Evidence from records refutes the chaos myth. Convoy logs show 90% on-time deliveries despite weather. Breakdown rates dropped as crews learned the truck's limits. The system adapted, adding one-way loops to cut delays. Source-based proof. Force. The Transportation Corps history notes structured planning prevented collapse. Memoirs from drivers, like those in the Quartermaster Review, describe enforced rest shifts and load checks. NARA files confirm command inspections ensured compliance. This disciplined structure, not chaos, sustained the advance. It turned potential failure into reliable flow. The myth overlooks the craft behind the runs. September 10th, 1944. The route east of Paris feels endless under moonlight. I steer the GMC through shadows, Sergeant Rucard again at the wheel. Ellis scans ahead, his face drawn from days without real rest. We haul jerry cans of gasoline this run, 5 tons sloshing behind. The worn tire tread hums against the pavement, a steady grind that vibrates up my arms. The convoy moves tight, 20 trucks in our serial. Headlights pierce the dark, against orders but needed now. Air raids have eased, but stragglers lurk. I scan the roadside ditches, ears tuned for anything off. The air carries a chill, mixed with fuel vapors. My hands ache from the grip, knuckles white. Miles tick by. We pass marker 200, halfway to the drop. A sputter comes from the engine. I glance at the gauges. Oil pressure dips low. Ellis wakes sharp. What's that? See, this is... Fiction. I ease off the gas, listen close. Bearing, maybe. We can't stop here. The rules say, push on or pull off. The truck shudders. I downshift, keep momentum. Smoke trails from the hood now. Tension coils in my gut, like a spring wound tight. Behind us, horns blare. The lead calls over the radio. Rucard. Status. I key the mic. Engine trouble. Trying to nurse it. No reply, just static. We limp to a wide spot. I pull over, kill the lights. The convoy rolls past, faces glancing our way. Ellis grabs the toolkit. We work by flashlight. Hood up, oil everywhere. A seal blew. I wipe grime from my hands, feel the rough edges of the worn tread as I lean against the wheel. Spare parts are short. We patch it with rags and wire, a field fix. Hours pass. Sweat cools on my skin. Dawn edges the horizon. Another convoy approaches, slows. A mechanic from the mobile unit jumps out. He checks our work, nods. Good enough. We refit the hood, fire the engine. It catches rough, but holds. We rejoin the empty return lane west. The sun rises slow. Fatigue pulls at my eyes, but the load delivered earlier keeps the front supplied. That patch holds for the run back. The tire tread, thinner now, carries us home. The micro fixes we made, like that engine patch on the roadside, scaled up across the operation. One truck saved meant tons delivered on time. Drivers' choices to push through mud or nurse failing parts kept the flow steady. At the company level, we rotated tires and shared spares, turning individual craft into unit strength. This built resilience against breakdowns that could have halted convoys. Zoom out to the route as a whole. The Red Ball stretched 400 miles by late September, a living artery pulsing supplies east. Micro decisions on speed and intervals prevented jams at checkpoints. We voiced updates over radios. For us. Position clear, load secure. This data fed back to St. Lo Command, who adjusted loads for balance. Fuel hauls went first, as 3rd Army's tanks guzzled 800, 1,000 gallons daily at peak push. Our discipline ensured no bottlenecks, letting divisions advance without pause. Terrain amplified the macro impact. West of Paris, flat roads allowed high volume, but east toward Metz, hills and rivers forced slower paces. We adapted by splitting convoys into smaller serials, easing bridge crossings. Weather shifts, like autumn rains, turned paths to slurry. Micro calls to chain tires or reduce speed prevented macro halts. Logistics hubs at Chartres and Reims became pivot points, where we reloaded for the final leg. Communications tied it together. SCR 506 sets in cabs linked us to MPs and depots. A breakdown report triggered a tow truck within hours. This network scaled the operation, handling 6 Zazos and trucks without chaos. Enemy raids tested us. Near Verdun, German patrols hit stragglers, but our armed escorts and quick reports minimized losses. We drove through, prioritizing delivery over fights. The strategic scale showed an Allied momentum. Our runs enabled Operation Market Garden resupply and the push to the Rhine. Micro-discipline and maintenance outpaced German sabotage. Their retreating forces mined roads, but our engineers cleared them fast. The system connected beaches to borders, sustaining 28 divisions. This analysis links the driver's wheel to the theater map. Small acts of craft multiplied into strategic sustainment. The Red Ball didn't just move goods, fours. It moved the war forward. Reality check number 3. Fours. Records showed the Express averaged 125 truck companies in operation by October, delivering over 412,000 tons total before closing. Source: Force. U. Army Center of Military History. Logistical support of the armies. The macro view revealed how our daily runs shaped the campaign's tempo. Terrain, weather, and comms formed the grid we navigated, turning potential stalls into unbroken advance. October 15, 1944. The route to Verdun turns into a gauntlet. Rain falls heavy. turning the road to rivers of mud. I grip the wheel tight, Sergeant Rucard, pushing the GMC through the worst yet. Ellis scans ahead, his face drawn from days without real rest. We carry priority fuel, cans stacked high, enough to keep a tank battalion moving for a day. The convoy snakes behind us, 25 trucks strong, engines roaring against the storm. Lightning flashes, lights up German positions off the road. Artillery thuds distant but closing. Reports say the enemy is digging in at the Moselle, raiding supplies where they can. My hands sweat on the leather wrap. The worn tire tread slips on slick stones. I feel every rut jar the cab. We hit 35 miles per hour when we can, but hills force us down to 20. The load shifts with each bump, cans clanking like warnings. A checkpoint looms ahead, MPs waving flares. They signal trouble up the line. Ambush hit the previous serial. 2 trucks lost, drivers pinned down. We halt short, engines idling. Tension builds in the silence, rain drumming the roof. Ellis loads his carbine. If they come, we drive through. Fiction. I nod, check my own weapon. The air smells of wet dirt and gun oil. Heartbeat steady, but the weight presses. This run could break the push or stall it cold. The lead radio crackles. Clear to proceed, but stay alert. We roll forward slow. The road narrows through woods, trees, a dark sentinels on both sides. I scan for movement, eyes straining in the downpour. A shot rings out, pings the hood. Ellis ducks. Incoming. Fiction. I floor the accelerator, truck lurching ahead. More rounds whiz past. Splinter bark. The convoy accelerates behind, horns blaring signals. We burst through the trees into open field. Machine gun fire chatters from a ditch. I swerve left, tires spinning mud. The GMC fishtails but holds. Ellis leans out, fires back-controlled bursts. Suppress them. Fiction. Rounds hit the canvas, but the cans hold. No leaks yet. Smoke rises from a hit truck 2 back. They pull off, crew bailing out. We can't stop. Orders say keep the load moving. The front appears ahead, lanterns marking the drop zone. Artillery booms closer now, ours answering theirs. We skid to a halt at the perimeter. Crews swarm the truck, unloading cans fast. Hands pass them chain style to waiting tanks. I step out, legs shaky from the drive. Rain mixes with sweat on my face. Ellis claps my shoulder. We made it. Fiction. The tension eases a notch, but the night's not done. Command pulls us aside. That ambush cost us, but your serial got through intact. Third Army needs this fuel for the crossing tomorrow. I nod, wipe grime from my eyes. The run back waits. Empty's lighter, but road's worse. We refuel quick, mechanics patching bullet holes with tape and plates. The engine turns over strong. I check the tires, tread worn to nearly nothing now, cords showing through, but they held when it counted. We form up for the return west. The storm lifts slight, stars peeking through clouds. The convoy rolls out, headlights cutting the dark. Behind us, tanks rumble to life on our delivery. The push continues. That night defines the operation for me. We drivers face the fire, not just the miles. Our craft keeps the war moving. The insight hits clear. Small choices, like swerving that ditch or nursing the speed, scale to victory. No glory in it, just the job done. The climax of those runs shows in the sustained tempo. We break through threats, deliver under strain. The legacy starts there, in the mud and fire. Discipline turns risk into routine advance. The Red Ball Express wound down on November 16, 1944. Rails and pipelines had caught up by then, taking over the bulk supply. We, drivers, parked our trucks, some with over 100,000 miles on them. My GMC sat in a depot near Nancy, engine cooled for the first time in months. The operation lasted 83 days, moving supplies across France into Belgium and Germany. It bridged the gap when traditional logistics failed. The immediate outcome showed in the Allied advance. Third Army crossed the Moselle in October, fueled by our runs. Without the Express, stalls could have given Germans time to fortify. Instead, the front pushed to the Rhine by December. Casualties stayed lower than projected, as divisions kept momentum. We lost 89 trucks to enemy action, but delivered enough to sustain 28 divisions. Metrics tell the scale. Total tonnage moved reached 412, 193 tons, averaging 5,000 tons daily over the run. Fuel transported alone hit 65 million gallons, enough to keep armored units rolling without pause. Vehicle miles logged exceeded 22 million, with an average round trip of 700 miles. These numbers came from disciplined logs, not estimates. The ripple effects spread wide. In the ETO, the Red Ball set precedents for mobile supply. Lessons on convoy control and maintenance shaped the Transportation Corps doctrine. Post-war, the U and more Army adopted similar systems in Korea, where truck lines sustained advances over rough terrain. The focus on driver rotation and roadside fixes became standard in logistics training. For us black drivers, the operation marked a quiet shift. We handled 75% of the runs, proving craft under segregation. Recognition came slow, but memoirs and reports highlighted our role. The Quartermaster Corps cited high availability rates, over 90%, due to our maintenance discipline. This fed into broader changes, like Truman's 1948 order integrating the military. On the strategic level, the Express demonstrated American adaptability. It turned industrial output into battlefield tempo. Allies outran German retreats, capturing ports intact. The legacy endured in NATO planning, where flexible logistics countered rigid lines. Museums now display GMC trucks, motifs of worn tread preserved in photos. The operation's close brought reflection. We returned to units, some shipping home. The roads we cleared stayed open, supply flowing steady. That sustainment shortened the war by months, saving lives on both sides. The ripple reached generations, teaching that discipline in logistics wins campaigns as much as combat. Reality checks confirm the impact. Army histories note the Express enabled the capture of 5 million German prisoners by spring 1945, as advances never stalled. Fuel efficiency improved to 2 miles per gallon loaded per NARA transport files. The aftermath solidified the Red Ball's place in military history. It proved trucks could bridge any gap with craft and will. The runs end, but the roads we carved stay etched in memory. We drivers dispersed to new duties, trucks retired or rebuilt. The Red Ball's craft lives on in manuals and training fields. It taught that discipline turns trucks into lifelines, sustaining advances where others falter. Generations later, logistics ops draw from our model, adapting to deserts or jungles. The motif of worn tire tread reminds me of endurance under load. Each groove worn deeper marked a mile toward victory. In the quiet after the engine stops, the worn tire tread stands as testament to disciplined miles that forged American victory's path.